In our last video, we had a great conversation with Deb Rector as we talked about her studio and how it has evolved since she moved in 5 years ago. Today, we get to see her room up close as she walks us through each of the different areas of her space and shows us how she uses it while we create a card together. Well, Deborah, why don't we take a look at your studio?
I'd love to show you. Perhaps I can even show you how to make a card.
That sounds great.
All right. It'll give you a better idea of my workflow.
Yeah.
And I was talking before about when you organize your studio, anytime somebody is setting one up, to lay out the process that they use. It's not the same for everybody, as you know. You have a wife that crafts. But for me, having all the tools that I typically use right at my fingertips, it really helps.
Yeah.
Well, first, I have to find the products I'm going to use. So with over 10,000 dies and stamps,
That's got to be a bit of a challenge.
it is a challenge, but they're organized. This is just one binder, but we'll look in here. And they're all alphabetical themes. So I come back here and I go house, new home, etc. It's under tab 21. And then I start looking through here and I try to find products that is sort of what I have in mind to create. So I kind of thought I would start by using, this is a relatively new stamp and die set by Simon Says Stamp, and it's European street buildings. And Trilith has a lot of European style homes, so I'm going to go ahead and pull that. So what this says is it's tab 21, and in here it's in box 11. All right?
Okay.
Okay, so I'm going to show you how to find box 11.
Perfect.
So all my generic dies and stamps are in here. I have some specialty brands that are stored in other cabinets, but this is the bulk of this is paper tray ink, and all of this is miscellaneous. So here's box 11. And they're all tabbed in here. And I know that it's at the back because it was the last picture we looked at. So it's this group of stamps and dies. I try to get all of my die cutting out of the way, make a mess with cutting, and then I clean up, and then I'm ready to start stamping and assembly.
So die cutting is one of the bigger parts of the process. You just want to get that out of the way.
Well, it is for me because when I create, I typically mass produce about 50 cards of the same design. It's a lot of die cutting. There's 3 houses. I need 50 of each house, and I need to die cut the greetings. So that's 4 separate die cuts times 50. It's a lot.
That's a lot of cutting.
Okay, you're going to cut 50, right?
Yeah. So how do you group them together? You've got this pack in an envelope.
Well, this is a set, and so I typically like to group sets together. So all of the components, they all go together in some way. So I'm not going to use all of them, but I am going to use the houses and the stamps here and this one. So the first thing I do is I'm going to die cut. So in here, I have several die cut machines. Have you ever die cut before?
I have, actually.
Oh!
I have.
All right. Okay, so we're going to get some paper.
Deborah, you need to have these on a magnet card.
I do, don't I? And I know who sells them. I'll bet Stamp and Storage sells them.
We might be able to hook you up.
All right, sounds great. we're going to cut these 2 pieces out. All right. Okay, work your magic. You look like you've done this a time or 2.
That's about as many.
Oh,
Time
okay,
or 2.
time
Yeah.
or 2. Now we're not going to cut out 50 today. We're just doing this to,
Okay.
Yep, just to get you started. Might plant the bug. You may become a card maker. All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to stamp these next. But in the meantime, let's clean up. Put these away.
So you're taking care of your space as we go here.
Oh, absolutely. And they easily get lost. Sadly, it's happened to me, and I've had to buy new sets because I've lost something. So I'm pretty careful about it. Actually, what I like to do is I use magnetic bowls. I get them really cheap.
Oh, yeah, like for hardware.
From Harbor Freight.
Yeah.
I use them all the time. What I would naturally do right now, we're done with die cutting. That's over. What we're going to do is we're going to stamp. So I store them in here, and you might think,
That's a lot of Misties.
that's a lot of Misties, right? But when I do multiples, and especially at Christmas, I'm doing 80 to 100 designs at a time. So what I will do is I could have as many as 10, 12 Misties laid out with all of the stamping ready to go. So it may look like a lot, but I do utilize them. We're not going to do it today, but I do love to emboss.
Oh, that's fun.
Oh, I love that medium. I think embossing is fun, and I think it looks so professional. Of course, I would use a stamping platform. I'd use the Misty to emboss, but I would come over here and I would find whatever stamping color, embossing color that I want. And I have to say, I was very thrilled when you came out with the carousel, because what I had was, I had embossing powders over here, I had them in a box, I had them in another drawer, and consequently what I would do is I wouldn't know what I had. So
jars are a problem. Like,
they are a problem.
What do you do with all? There's so many different sizes, and it's a challenge.
Exactly. And they're easily like just tossed into a bin or a box. And you think that you're going to remember, but I don't remember. And so I end up buying multiples,
Yeah.
which if you look on here, you will see that I have multiples, and that's why. But now I have everything all stored in one place, all my embossing powders. It's really easy to find. I also use these mediums a lot with stencils.
Oh, sure.
And particularly at Christmas, I love the sparkle. I love all these colors. And this is a Glitz Glitter Gel by Gina K. And I use these on Christmas cards,
Oh, that's
snowflakes.
beautiful.
Oh, it's beautiful. It really is. So this I use for my larger jars. I have some sparkles down here, my embossing powders, and then over here, I moved my Tim Holtz Distress Oxide inks from there to here because I had to make room for a new ink product line. When you were here 5 years ago, I know it's hard to remember.
It's been a while.
It's been a while, but I did have all of this shelving here. It wasn't as filled up as it is now because I acquire
Your collection
more.
has grown.
Yes, it is. Like any crafter, right?
Yes.
I did start out by this 6x6 storage, and I really like it, but I outgrew it. And rather than buying multiples, I took your stamp case shelf and I turned it into another purpose.
Okay. Yeah.
So
that's all your 6x6 paper pack.
It is. It is. So this is 6x6. I also have some different sizes, like this is all 8x8.
Sure.
I don't use pattern paper that much, so it isn't something that I need so close to my desk, but whenever I need it, it's all in one place. And I love having it in one place because you know what happens? You buy multiples then,
You
right?
know where it is.
Right.
And it's all together and generally visible, so it's easy to find what you're looking for.
Absolutely. Now I'll show you another use that I use this shelf for.
Yeah.
Okay. I use it for my blending brushes. So this is another stamp case shelf. All right.
It is, but you're storing
I'm using my
brushes.
blending brushes there.
That's brilliant. It's the perfect size for that.
It
And you
really
can even take them out.
is. It is easy to pull brushes out. I love this shelf because they're all in one place. It's just, you know, it's another way of using your products.
Yeah.
Thinking outside the box.
Being creative.
Absolutely. Isn't that what it's all about, is being creative
That it
anyway?
is. And that's what it's all about. But we came in here for Misty's.
You're right. I got off track, didn't I?
Storage is so much fun.
I know, right? It is so much
So
fun.
how many are we using for this project?
So for this project, I already have them in place, the stamps in place. And so I've conveniently put them on the end. Oh, these are the magnetic bowls that I mentioned.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they're very inexpensive. You can find them everywhere, but I get them from Harbor Freight. They're very inexpensive. But what's nice about them is when you're working on a project and you have a lot of dies, obviously you don't want them to get lost. You put them in the magnetic bowl, and what I do is I take whatever I'm die cutting and I lay that in the bowl, and I have the corresponding die right with it. So if I need to make more, it's right there.
It's all together.
Yeah, and what's nice about the bowl, I use my glass mat at the table, and that is also magnetic. So when I put these on the glass mat, they don't slide around, they don't tip over, they're stuck.
You can't spill it.
Right.
Nice. What are these?
Oh, these are color swatches. For example, I make color swatches per brand. This happens to be Alta Nu. It's my largest brand. And on the back of each of the color swatches, let's just say that I'm looking for Alta Nu Azurite. On the back of it, there's a number, 248. So I would come out here, and I would look for number 248, and it's right here, Azurite, and that is the corresponding ink.
Oh, that's handy.
Very easy to find.
Where'd you get the system? Did you make that?
The system is from Simon Says Stamp, and it's particularly for ink swatching. So they sell the paper swatches, the cardboard, and then I have it set up where I like to see it in a solid and different kinds of stamping images to see how well it blends or how it dries. So not only that, let's see, right here it goes. Then I have the corresponding refill ink, and that's also numbered as 248.
It's really hard to tell refill bottles apart when they're out on the table.
Yeah, so these are very inexpensive stickers. I get them off eBay.
Nice.
Yeah, great way to organize, very inexpensive.
If you got a lot of color, it's a great way to keep it straight.
I have over 800 different kinds of ink. So in order to keep them straight and know where they are, all of my inks are separated by manufacturer, by brand, and then I swatch them. They're all in order and all numbered.
So what do you do when they add another color?
I just add to the end.
So it's not in rainbow order anymore?
It's not in rainbow order. I know.
You stole my
but
heart.
Can you imagine how many of these I'd have to redo just to put it in rainbow order?
That would be overwhelming.
Yeah, I have other things to do, Brett, like make cards. So
more
let's
important.
get busy and make a card.
Okay,
All
let's
right.
make cards.
Okay, so what we need now is a pop of pretty. We have all these grays.
Need some color.
We need color. So how about a red?
Yeah.
We have all these pretty reds, but I don't want it to blend into the grays. So how about paprika?
That's great.
It's a great color and it's a great pop.
That was simple enough.
Absolutely. You know, if it isn't visible, it's lost.
That is very true.
Very true. All right, perfect. Now we're going to get a tool out of here. And I do love these cases. These are a brand new addition, and thank you very much. I do love these.
Glad you like them. They are popular.
I love them.
Crafters always have lots of little things, and
like,
shallow drawers are so
absolutely.
important.
Look at that. Look how organized, and look how easy it is for me to find things. And then I can actually lift the tray out and bring it right to my table. You make it easy because there aren't sides on here. It makes it easy to lift out. And I do have even the larger size here. Your inserts are fabulous.
Good.
Yeah, thank
Glad
you
you
very
like
much.
them.
I do, thank you. So you use this to pick it out. We're moving to the next level of detail. So what we're going to do is we're going to go in here and we're going to pull a red pen.
All right.
All right, because we want those filled in. So I have all my Copic markers and my other markers all stored in your units. I love these, they're great. Okay, so we're going to try. This is tedious, so I'm going to show you what I do.
I know when I'm being brushed aside.
I'm sorry, but when it's this tedious, sometimes the details are so worth it. So I'm going to grab a green.
So it has another level of detail.
Oh, yes,
Of
it
interest.
does. And I think we'll pick this one, okay? And stamp it twice, make sure it's nice. And that's it. That's the end of our house. So this is the end result of the little houses that I created and that you did. And here's this house right here. All right, good job, Brett.
Oh, thanks, Deb.
Really good job.
Thank you for joining us for this great conversation and tour with Deborah. What a beautiful craft room, and what creative ideas for storage and organization. We hope that learning more about her space and her attention to detail have inspired you to make some improvements to your craft area. Our goal is for you to be able to organize your craft and unleash your creativity.